Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, all.
Hi.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Did you just start the class now?
It does sound like we're taking roll in a class,
Oh,
but yes.
okay.
Hank, I directed somebody from our neighborhood group with your email. I don't know if they contacted you or not. But I posted our Zoom meeting on our local news groups. Neighborhood groups, I guess it's called.
Welcome back to San Diego, Hank.
Thank you. You see that I've changed my background picture.
Mm-hmm.
Is my audio working okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds okay, Will.
All right. Saul, as you can see, I've changed the setup so that you don't hear the background noise anymore.
That's good.
We're using a headset now. It works
Yep.
great.
That's great. Hank may want to rename himself.
He will when he gets everything else done.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Grace.
Good morning, 074945.
I think 074945 is someone who emailed me this morning
Correct. It's probably me.
asking to join.
I'm Mary Ray.
Rename yourself with your real name or a.
I did. Mary Ray.
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
How did you find out about us?
It was in the program, the schedule for the day at Wesley Palms.
Oh, good. You're a Wesley Palms person. We have another Wesley Palms person on here too, and there's I don't see her on yet.
I'm at the top. My numbers are 074945. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I can barely hear you. Is there any way to turn your volume up? Or stand closer to the mic?
Well, can you hear me any better now?
Yes.
Little.
Little bit. I should scream then. Okay, very good. Hello there.
No, just send me some new ears.
Me too.
Mary, do you know Sammy?
I know nobody.
You know nobody. Are you new to Wesley Palms?
I'm at Wesley Palms, but I don't know anybody because I'm new here.
Oh, I'm talking about Sammy who lives at Wesley Palms. Oh, there she is. Hi, Sammy. We have another Wesley Palms person here, Mary.
Mary Ray.
Mary Ray. Do you...
My name's up there now. That's pretty good.
Good.
Now, who am I talking to?
Mary Ray. She is also a Wesley Palms resident.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
It's nice to meet you.
Mary Ray.
I have a bad leg right now, so I haven't been getting out that much. Are you new?
Mary Ray, not Mary Arts. Mary Ray, R-A-E.
Ray, Mary Ray.
Yeah.
R-A-E.
Put that name up there. I didn't put that name up there.
Okay. Thank you for correcting me.
Welcome.
Okay. Hope to see you around.
What's the status of Wesley Palms in terms of COVID-19 nowadays?
We are still restricted in the dining room for the number of people that can go in. We still have to make reservations. Funny enough, the computer room is open. Now, whether anyone's using it or not, I don't know, but it's open. Someone might attempt to see if you want to do any in-person stuff. You might want to attempt a try to see if it's feasible for us to do that.
The computer room's probably safe. It's all full of antivirus software.
I don't know. I know, you know what? I didn't take a look. I've had a bad leg for a few days, so I haven't been too ambulatory to get over to the main building. Yeah.
I'd like to find out who's running the computer room at Wesley Palms.
I'll tell you what, I would speak to Robert Rubio. He's the assistant executive director. Under him is Tanya Batchelor.
Yeah, I know Tanya.
Oh, yeah, do you know Tanya?
Yes. Mhm.
I think she'd be a good person to
Okay.
speak to. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I like it the way we are, but if everyone, wants to do otherwise, I just wanted to let you know what's going on.
Good.
Amy, it's interesting at Frederica Manor. We closed our computer room a couple years ago because it wasn't being used at all. One person used it occasionally.
So Hank, I see you've changed your background. Have you changed your location then?
Yep, I'm back in San Diego.
Welcome to San Diego, Hawaii's loss.
Welcome to being able to wait till 10:30 before you have to open up the show.
Yeah, that has to be nicer.
Yeah, it's nice not to have to start this at 7:15.
Welcome, Barbara.
Okay, let's see.
I just wanted to ask Mary Ray if there is a space between those two names.
Really not, because I don't answer to Mary. It's Mary Ray. So
All one word, is that correct?
M-A-R-Y, capital R-A-E. Yeah, just
I will fix.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Could we, yeah, good, thank you. Thank you.
New one.
Good day. We are going to look at
Dan has his hand up.
Just a minute, I'm doing
today. We are going to look at the
rats. Just a minute. You who have your hand up, I'm doing something else at the moment. Be with you in a minute. There, now. There we go. Okay, someone, Dan, what for you?
I don't see closed caption on my screen.
That's
Is that-
because I haven't started it.
Okay, so that's it.
Thank you.
And do we have another new person? I see an MR Fanta is connecting.
me.
Ah,
That one there. Mary Ray.
okay, I see a second one that says M.R.Fanta is connecting to audio.
I'm online.
Okay, oh yeah, is that, oh, those are both you then? Because I see a second one on the screen.
There we go. Is this going to? Yes.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
All right, this morning, do we have anyone who has a problem with, let's see, we're up to 14 participants. That's not as many as I would hope before I start the presentation. Do we have anyone who has a problem with Zoom that we can talk about or fix or whatever?
I have a question.
Well, that's a good sign.
Mary Ray has her physical hand up.
Yes,
Okay,
Mary Ray, where are you?
Was this class supposed to start at 9:30?
No.
No, it starts at 10. Well, no, it's 10:30.
Oh, because I've been on it since 9:30 because that's what my schedule here at Wesley Palm says. So needless to say, I was a little.
I've tried to correct that many times with the person in charge, but my efforts are fruitless. So, sorry.
Sammy, do you know who's in charge of the bulletin?
Well, it's in the newsletter, which is published by Tanya.
Tanya? Okay, I'll get in touch
Again,
with
she's
Tanya.
the one to speak to.
I'll talk to Tanya.
She or her assistant, Rowena.
Okay.
So it's a Wesley Palms problem, huh?
Correct. Because I have here, it's from 9:30 to 12:30, and I've
Yeah.
been on it since 9:30.
Yeah, I noticed that's what you said in the email you sent me, but I decided not to leap into that
Okay, that's fine. It's
Uh,
problem solved.
quicksand this morning.
Okay.
We've corrected that for Mary Ray.
Thanks.
Is that right?
We'll see. Next
Okay.
Saturday.
All right.
Yeah, well, we have a certain amount of, senior moments in this group, so don't worry about it.
Okay. Gone.
She was just ahead of her time.
Oh, so-
Okay.
Let's see, next week will be a board meeting, right?
No, that's next week.
Next week.
Second Saturday. This is the
Where's
first
Alice?
Saturday.
No, Alice.
Folks, Hank said next week will be a board meeting. You must have
Oh.
missed the next week part.
Sounded like this week, pardon me.
Yeah, me too.
Senior ears problem.
You're
So today's class is on what?
How is a week from today will be a week from today?
It will.
Be the 14th.
whatever.
Do we know who the person with a big M in the green box is? Is that also Mary Ray?
No, that might
I
be.
think so.
Someone
think so.
connecting to audio.
They've been that way for about 5 minutes. So I'm not sure if they're still trying to connect or the computer thinks they're connecting. It may be another one
It's
from
Mary
Ray.
Ray.
Well, I have two things, but I
Yeah,
got you on
that's
the computer. So you want me to erase myself from here?
It's not doing you or us any good, so please go ahead.
Unless we don't want you to erase yourself though.
I won't. I'm not going to touch a thing.
I can remove the.
no,
the
I guess
other
maybe
entry.
it's not Mary Ray. I guess it's MR Fanta.
That's me.
Is that also Mary Ray? Okay.
Yeah. It sounds like Mary Ray is on a computer and she tried to get on her phone as well.
Yeah.
And so we can delete
So,
the one from the
Yeah,
phone.
I will remove the phone one.
Delete.
Oh, we're up to 16 participants now, including, but that's two of Mary.
Yeah, well, one's for Mary, the other's for Ray, okay?
I'm still looking for suggestions and questions about things we can have presentations on. Anyone who has a question on your smartphone, by the way. We should do more presentations and discussions about things you can do on your smartphone or things you shouldn't do on your smartphone.
As a matter of curiosity, I just upgraded to a Pixel 6 Pro, and I switched over to AT&T from Verizon. And I saved money on my monthly bill, and there's a minimum upfront cost. So I'm in the process of learning more about a new phone. But the learning curve is fairly easy because it's very similar to what I had on my Pixel 3. And the camera on it is really fantastic. I could show some features that I did on it. It has an amazing zoom range, and there's a few other neat features.
Stanley, I
Camera
remember,
being fantastic, by that you mean it's more bells and more whistles, not better pictures.
Well, it's higher resolution. The display is more vivid. The zoom range is like a 20:1 zoom range. I guess the bells and whistles are bigger than they were earlier, and perhaps a few others. I'm not prepared to talk about it because I'm still learning it. But if you're considering jumping from Verizon or to AT&T, I'd suggest you look into it because it looks like a very good deal. They gave me $800 on my Pixel 3 trade-in, which paid for the Pixel 6. And I got hung up on the advantages of the Pixel 6 Pro. And so that cost me $3 a month for 3 years to pay the difference between the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro.
Sammy, you have your hand up.
Yes. Speaking about, the phones, you did a program on Android phones last week, because I know most of you are on Office, but what about those of us on Mac? Why are you leaving us out all the time? We feel neglected.
because not
I have
enough,
to bother poor Saul all the time privately for help with anything.
because we don't get enough Mac volunteers to do presentations.
Saul helps you here.
Well, I know there's private help, but I'm talking about the program. Now, last week I didn't tune in because I don't have an Android phone.
Will.
Yeah, I have El Cheapo Android phone. It's a Galaxy J20, I believe, that I bought for half a nothing. But I signed up with TrackPhone and it cost me $15 a month, which I think is pretty good. I don't do a lot of phones, so I probably don't have a lot of minutes for it, but enough to cover what I do. So anybody looking for a low-cost service, take a look at TrackPhone.
And Grace.
Yeah, Hank, did you get my email about the program Snapseed, where you can adjust photographs?
About what?
Snapseed, SNAPSEED.
When did you
It's a
send the email?
free program 2 weeks ago. It's
No.
a program that adjusts photographs, and it was through the group in Oklahoma.
No, would you send it again? I don't recall getting an
Okay.
on that subject. Okay, Will?
Yeah, as to the photographs, I finally took a look at the Google photo application, which you get if you have Gmail. And I was surprised to find out it had enough power to do what I wanted to do, which essentially is cropping and maybe a little adjusting, but it has all those features built in. And you might want to take a look at it. If you use Gmail, click on the 9 dots, and one of the selections you have there is what's it called? Photos, I guess. And then you can bring in photos and manipulate them. It's not very powerful, but it's powerful enough for what I have to do.
Grace, you still have your hand up?
Yeah, I had a problem. I went offline and I'm coming back on.
Okay, I think it's time to start the presentation. We'll have Q&A later. Wait a minute, people are waving their hand. What's going on?
Oh, Mac has his hand up.
Hi. I was using 3 devices. Can you see me on 3 different devices? The computer, the iPad, and iPhone.
Yeah, I see one labeled PMac, another one labeled Paul's iPhone.
Good.
And then
Because at 10:25, I could not get internet through my T-Mobile internet router or whatever. So I have to use the phone's, how do you call that? The
Wi-Fi
phones
hotspot.
share internet with the iPad and the. I just wonder if you can all get all my
See all
3
three.
different.
Well, we see all
devices.
3. We see all 3.
Good. That's good. That's good.
Yes.
So I'm going to disconnect too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
wave your hand again, and we should see you in 3 places waving. There we go.
We see
This
it.
is the computer.
That's
Mhm.
This is the iPad,
Yep. Mhm.
and this is the iPhone.
Yeah.
What's your name?
yeah, but
Oh,
See my name there, Paul?
all you have to do is wave your hand once, and we see it on 3 screens.
So I'm going to
I think
disconnect.
that's-
Two of them.
I think that's an object lesson for all of us, that if you are wondering whether you are showing on 3 screens, wave your hand in front of your camera as I'm doing now. You only see one hand. But if you're on more than one place, you should see it more than one time. All right, I'm going to start the presentation. We can go into Q&A and discussions like this later.
Uh-oh. You're gone.
Well, let's see. I have managed to.
You're supposed to be on. You've now got the,
You got the black spots.
Yeah, Hank, before you start it, you might mute everyone and then get rid of what we're seeing as gray rectangles on your screen.
You're right. You're right. Hold on.
Back.
I have to stop the presentation first to mute all. And then start the presentation again. And hopefully get into the right place and get rid of the boxes. Boxes. I think that does it, except for the closed caption, which I'll move over to the lower right corner. And let's see.
Or you could just turn that off on your own using the caret. You can say hide the subtitles.
I have to go back out of share screen to do that. I'm going to leave it the way it is. Let's see what happens here.
So there are 2 boxes I'm
We
seeing
are
on my
going to Look
screen.
at the brand new Microsoft Office 2021. Today, we are going to look at the brand new Microsoft Office 2021, which just recently came out, and we are going to compare it to Microsoft 365. If you want to get the desktop apps for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, you'll have to choose one of these options. Before we get started, if you want to watch more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. All right, let's check this out. So what is the difference between these two different options? Well, the main factors that will likely make your decision have to do with the price and also the features available. With Office 2021, you pay a one-time fee and you get a perpetual or lifetime license to Office. So if you're still using this copy of Office that you bought, say 6 years from now, you don't have to pay Microsoft again. Office 2021 comes in two different versions. You have Home and Student, and that costs $150. With that, you get the desktop apps for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and you also get Microsoft Teams. There's another version called Home and Business. That costs $100 more, so $250. And you get everything that's included in Home and Student, but you also get the addition of Microsoft Outlook, plus you can use it for commercial purposes. Now, if this option sounds pretty good, unfortunately, there are some downsides. Microsoft definitely wants more people to choose the Microsoft 365 option. With Office 2021, you can only install it on one PC. So if you have two PCs, you'll have to buy another license. Also, with this option, you'll never again get any feature updates. So it truly is what you buy is what you get. This is probably the best option if you really just despise subscription fees and you don't really care about getting all of the latest features. With Microsoft 365, on the other hand, this is a subscription offering. So you'll have to keep paying money over time for the privilege to continue using Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Now, obviously, this is Microsoft's preferred option, but why would anyone ever choose to get a subscription over a one-time fee? With Microsoft 365, you'll actually end up paying less in the first 2 years. With the individual plan, it's $70 per year. And with the family plan, which is good for up to 6 people, you'll end up spending $100 per year. With Microsoft 365, you get everything that you get in Office 2021, but you get even more. You get up to 6 terabytes of storage space with the family plan, and that's ideal for backing up photos and videos. I know at least I personally do that with all of my videos that I upload onto YouTube. With the family plan, you can install Office on up to 30 different devices. I don't have nearly that many devices around my house, but it's nice to know that that's an option. You also get 60 minutes of international Skype calling. You get access to additional apps like Access and Publisher, and you get many other features and services as well. One of the biggest benefits is it's updated over time. So as Microsoft continues investing in it, and as they continue releasing new features, you'll automatically get them as part of your subscription. The best way to visualize the difference: Microsoft 365 is constantly being updated, and you'll frequently see new features land. While with Office, it's just one point in time, and you'll frequently see a new version come out every 2 to 3 years. Now that we've talked about the high-level differences, what's new in Office 2021? You now have something called real-time co-authoring, and that's available in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. This allows you to work with others on the same document. The one caveat is your document has to be stored in OneDrive, but you can access at least 5 gigabytes for free. You also get access to modern comments. You can see who's in your document at the same time. There's also been a visual refresh, and it matches the look of Windows 11. You'll see rounded windows, a more neutral color palette, and just overall a softer look. You also get access to stock images and icons. You can use Microsoft Search in the apps to look for functionality or help. Your documents will now auto-save. This way, you don't have to worry about constantly pressing Control-S. You can now save documents in the Open Document Format, or ODF. There's an updated Draw tab. You could use a sketched style outline. You could enter hex colors in the color picker. There have also been performance updates across the board. In Excel, there are now many new functions. There's a new one called XLOOKUP, which is quite a bit better than VLOOKUP. It allows you to look things up in your spreadsheet. If you want to learn more about XLOOKUP, check out the video right up above. You can now also use dynamic arrays like filter, sort by, and there are many others. You can use the let function, and with the let function, you can assign names to calculation results. You can also use xmatch, and with this function, you can search for a specified item in an array, and you can get the relative position back. You can also set up various sheet views to help you get back to the view that you care about. In PowerPoint, you can now record your presentation using video and audio. You can also record your inking on a slide. In Outlook, you can now instantly search for messages. And lastly, you can also ink to annotate your message in Outlook. In Word, there's something new called line focus, which helps you read a document by just focusing on one line at a time. Lastly, Microsoft Teams now comes bundled together with Office. Previously, you could download Microsoft Teams, but now it just comes with Office, so you no longer have to go out to get it. So how does all of this new functionality compare to Microsoft 365? Well, it turns out that none of this functionality is new to Microsoft 365. As these new features were developed, they just automatically became part of Microsoft 365. With Office 2019 and then Office 2021, all of these features got bundled, and then every 2 or 3 years, there's a big drop of new functionality. Given all of that, which one should you choose? At least me personally, I have a Microsoft 365 subscription, but then again, I also produce YouTube videos on Office, and I need the latest functionality. I also really like having up to 6 terabytes of space to back things up in OneDrive. To me, that's all very worthwhile. But I can also understand why maybe you don't want another subscription fee. If you're just using Microsoft Word and you need the basic authoring functionality, why pay an ongoing fee? Just pay one time and be done with it. Let me know down below in the comments, which one do you have, or which one are you planning on getting? To watch more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. I'll see you next time.
All right, we're back. Mr. Wakely. Will, you're muted.
Okay, now I'm back online. I used a website called Ondert, Ondert. And there, I don't know how they get these licenses, but I think for $30, I got Office 2021. And you think these things may be scams, but this particular company, Ondert, I've used several times and no problem at all. They send you the license number, you put it in, and you got it. Microsoft doesn't seem to complain. So I don't understand how they're able to do this, but for the price, it's great. You can also get Office 365 and other programs for special deals on, and all of them are under $50. So take a look at the website Ondert, Ondert.
I think I'm going to, I am using Office 2010, I think. And pretty soon that's going to be totally unsupported and totally maybe not even usable.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to shift to LibreOffice, which is free. I already have on my computer. Okay, Mr. David.
Right. when he was saying that, okay, if you are a heavy user, you might want to have all the features. But if you're a light user, I would go to something like LibreOffice because it's got the basic features. If all you need is basic features, you can get that for free. It is maintained and supported, and you can read and write documents in the Microsoft Office format. So if you're only a casual user and you don't want to, you haven't got the extra money lying around, you don't have to really pay anything. Whereas if you're wanting the other features, like, I mean, one of the places like the Shepherd Center, we use Publisher. So we need the full set and not the reduced set that would be in the Office 2021. That's just what I was saying.
Miriam.
Hi. I have a question that maybe Will can answer. It used to be that the professional version or the business version included Access, but he didn't mention Access in either version. And I'm wondering how you update Access if you need to.
Yes, he said that Access and Publisher are included in the 365.
Oh, I didn't hear the Access. I heard Publisher, but I didn't hear Access. Sorry.
They're
Old
also
ears.
included. They're also included in the Office 2021
Professional version, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, Stanley.
The one thing I found in Excel that does not work in Open Office was protected pages. I password protected an Excel spreadsheet that included my passwords. And I tried to do that, open that in Open Office, and it would not open. So that's the only thing I have found in Open Office. I mean, in LibreOffice that doesn't work within a spreadsheet.
So Stanley, have you tried unprotecting it, opening in LibreOffice, and then trying to protect it within LibreOffice? They may just have a different way of doing it.
No, I have not tried that, and that would be a way. I hadn't thought of doing that, but that makes sense. Thank you.
Grace?
It's unmute.
Is Libra spelled L-I-B-R-A?
E.
Libre.
Okay, thank you.
As in free.
Yeah.
En español es libre. Mr. Dan.
Yes, if you have an Outmail account or email account with Outmail, what is that?
Outlook.
Or the new version, which is Outlook, I think. They have all those Office selections available, and it's Microsoft. I don't know what the capabilities of them are, but you can do a lot of things with one of those email accounts. So you might look into that before you go buying a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think what you may be referring to, that there's Microsoft Office on the web, which I believe is free, but these are not applications you install on your computer. You have to use them on the web, sort of like you use Chrome apps on the web. And I still think that's a somewhat of a subset of the things you get on the desktop apps.
And where does that save your documents or whatever?
On the web.
If you open your Hotmail account, you look in the upper left-hand corner, there are some selections that you can get. And like Paul says, David says, they're Office selections and things like that, but they do run on the web, and they do store them on the web, but you can move that to a to your disk or your memory stick, put them somewhere else if you want to take a copy of it. So, you know, that's the danger is they're stored out there on the web, I guess. If you don't want anybody to see them, it's not a good place to have them.
Because, you know, the editing happens on the web. If you want to get them on your machine, you got to bring them, got to download them back to your machine. So
Yes.
it's, you know, and that's, you know, for some people, that's fine. But it's doing it through a web interface, which I've always found is much more sort of clunky and not as smooth as a good desktop application.
It's interesting because years ago, I shifted over from using America Online with an America Online program that is in my computer. It's still there, but I never use it. I just go to mail.aol on the web and store all my emails on the web, which I have been doing for 10 or 15 years. So far, so good. Okay, I think that's all for the presentation this morning. Once again, I solicit your input with questions or suggestions or build your own presentation you want us all to see. And now we'll shift to Q&A and Will.
Okay. Who has questions? I have several myself, but we'll entertain questions from others first.
Will, can I just ask Paul if he also needs his iPhone on this meeting? I don't know that he was paying attention to my question. Paul? I was just asking you if you also need your iPhone connected as a participant in this meeting.
Yeah, you're showing up twice, Paul.
We'll move on. Never mind.
Okay. Okay, Mary Ray has her hand up. Mary?
The question that I have is, do you have a schedule of the topics that you're going to be talking on each week?
Well, what's the question? Do we have a schedule of what?
Topics that you're going to be talking on each Saturday.
No, I have no schedule because I had no suggestions.
Oh.
And that's why I'm asking for suggestions.
If I were going to take a class at City College or one of the UC campuses, there's a schedule that they have, you know, like the beginning and the first things and the second things, a sequence of scheduling. So one thing leads into the other. So there's no schedule for topics.
Yeah, Mary Ray, I think it sounds like you think that this is a you know, a class and a teaching thing. This is really just a group that gets together that talks about the things that some of us find interesting. So what happens with Hank is that people may suggest things, he'll find someone, he'll bring in a speaker, but what happens each week gets announced when he sends out the invitation each week.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you?
I used to put scheduled presentations.
Would you turn on the
Website.
light over there for the cat?
Okay.
I used to put scheduled presentations on our website.
Yeah.
What I'm the VP for programs
Okay.
because no one else would stand up to fill that slot.
Oh.
And what I am supposed to do is put together a schedule, as you suggest.
Yeah.
But I need ideas, or I need pre-canned programs that other people have seen that they think that we might all benefit from. And I don't get very many of those.
I might suggest to Mary Ray
Yes.
that if Hank hasn't already offered, you might be able to get on his email distribution list, and you will get an email reminder each week, and it will include the current topic for that week. And also, Hank has done an enormous amount of work posting prior presentations on the Seniors Computer Group website that you could go to and access anytime.
Okay, so.
And Mary, our Seniors Computer Group website is really easy to remember. It's just the initials of Seniors Computer Group San Diego. It's SCGSD, Seniors Computer Group San Diego .org. SCGSD.org. And yes, I will put your email on the distribution list.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And
As soon as I write myself a note to do that.
Mary Ray, have you been to the website yet?
This is the first time that I've been on this.
Okay, I was wondering, Hank, you know your way around the website. Could you share your screen and give Mary Ray a quick tour? I think that might be a useful thing.
Sure, I'll do it for all. Just a minute. Let me go back to. Okay. There is our website, I think. Yes. Now, back to share screen. Share screen. And share. Okay, there is our website.
A couple of gray boxes.
Just a minute. Just a minute. All right. And we have our home screen, which tells us about us, talks about the fact that we used to meet weekly, but don't anymore.
We still do weekly.
I mean, excuse me, we used to meet in person weekly, but don't ever anymore. We have we used to have a newsletter that went out to members only. It was the main bait for people to become members. But we don't have a publisher anymore. Anyone feel like publishing a newsletter for us? Please see a board member. Now what we have is a separate tab on the called Bits and Bytes, which was the name of our newsletter in the past. And when I see articles, I put them in the Bits and Bytes section, and you can read them by clicking on this colored link. Here were things that were suggested in February. Here were things that were, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the schedule that we don't actually keep going anymore. The schedule now has no things on it, but we do have the videos that have been offered in the past. So you could, by the way, anyone who is now in this group would probably benefit from going here and looking at the past videos, because they go all the way back over a year. Oh, no, excuse me. Oh, let's see, we're March, April, May. Yes, it's now over 2 years. If these old videos that were played, if they're still available on the internet, you can go back and play them. The top 5 free best photo editing software programs. You simply click on that and
for just 60
start. If it's still.
If you're looking for a free photo editor and you don't want to purchase expensive software like Photoshop, you have many choices. Today, I will show you the top 5.
So that's events. In resources, you can get to a lot of places. You can get to askleo.com. You can get to askdavidtaylor.com, howtogeeks.com. All of these link programs will take you to their website. You can get to Hank's mini seminars. I have about 150 past mini seminars that I have produced, and they are contained here, showing here are presentations that were made back when I was using XP to make the presentations. And there are others right up to one that I put together last week or so. This is the one that covered how to take photos and share them on your Android phone. You can find that, you find something you like, and you can click over here and you'll play that YouTube video. All of my presentations are on YouTube.
I received an email from Barbara Wilkinson.
And let's see, back to resources. After we have a presentation, I often receive the PowerPoint slides from presenters. And when I do, I put them on our website. In places like this, notes and links from live presentations with the most recent at the top. And over here on the right, there's how to join. There are people in this organization that have volunteered and included their telephone number, for example, to help you if you have a computer program, a problem. You can call that number. That's my cell phone, so I have it even though it's a Hawaii number. That is my cell phone. You can call me and I'll try to help you with any one of these things that are subjects that I think I'm competent enough to talk about.
And perhaps we need to take Melvin off of the list there. I don't think the phone goes through anymore.
I'm sorry, would you say that again louder, please?
I don't know that we need to have Mel Weekly on the list anymore.
You're quite right. Thank you. I better call Dick Lennon and see if he's still unwilling. Okay, and we now have the minutes of board meetings on this tab, and we also have recordings of these presentations, which I put up after each presentation. You can go back and watch this whole thing. I'm not really sure that's valuable, but I'm doing it.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions about the website?
Hank, thank you very much for maintaining this website. It's great. And I know you do a lot of work on it, and it's really appreciated.
It keeps me out of the bars most days.
Hank, I would just also mention to Mary that the second Saturday of each month is a board meeting followed by general questions and answer.
Right. Mr. Malloy.
Unmute. This week there was some more information that came out about Avast antivirus that wasn't very positive to use it. So if you use Avast, you might want to review that. And I would say better to go back just to Microsoft Essentials that's built into Windows Defender, which is built into Windows 10. If you still want to pay money for a program, I would use Windows Essentials and then use Malwarebytes as a paid for program. I think your money is better spent that way. Also, really consider making sure that you have a good backup of your information. That's the best thing, and Carbonite's a good way to do that if you don't have another way to do it.
Rob, do you remember what was the pitfall in Avast?
They found a vulnerability in a file that's been there for a long time. There was no evidence at this point that it had been taken advantage of. But there's been a number of things, including when you were using, say, the Avast browser or browser add-on, that it took your information and took it to Avast. So they were spying on you. That's a way they were paying for their program. Again, Microsoft seems to have a better program at this point, and it's free and free forever, and will install on your computer automatically if you remove all your other antivirus programs off your computer.
Do you have to activate it in any way, Ross?
If you uninstall any of the antivirus programs that you have on your computer, so you'd go to the programs and features and look down the list and say, oh yeah, I see Symantec, I see Avast, I see whatever programs you might have. You just uninstall those, restart your computer, and then Windows Defender will automatically be installed on your computer.
Okay, thank you.
And where do you find it? In your start menu?
So on the lower right-hand side of the screen, you should have a shield. And in that shield, it should tell you whether the services are, what services you have. Let's see here. Windows Security. If you look under Windows Security in your computer, it will tell you if your updates are up to date, if your antivirus is up to date, all the things that Microsoft automatically takes care of. And if you have an antivirus program, it'll tell you which one you have, including whether or not it's Microsoft.
Okay, thanks. Good information.
I think if you go to manage providers on that thing, it'll tell you which one is working your antivirus, your firewall, and web versions.
If I go to my hidden icons, there's a shield in there. And if I hover over that, it says Windows Security. No action needed.
That's it. So that's saying that as far as Microsoft's concerned, you're up to date with all of the features that that part of the Windows Security program takes care of.
Yeah, it lists virus and threat protection, account protection, firewall and network protection, which is interesting because I do have another antivirus. I have McAfee installed on this computer.
Okay.
Yeah, my shield says actions required. So obviously I probably don't have Defender running, but
you need to go in and see what action is required.
Yeah, if you click on it, it'll tell you which ones you need to know something about, I think. Thank you very much, Mr. Malloy. As usual, when you speak, we learn. Stanley. Oh, sorry, Will.
Yeah, I wanted to inquire about, I have an application that shows up on my taskbar called the Microsoft Teams, Teams. I have never used it. Has anybody else ever used it? And if so, tell us about it.
It was
David.
mentioned in the presentation this morning as one of those things that you get with 2021 or 365.
David.
Anybody want to speak?
Yeah, Will.
David?
What Teams is Microsoft's version of Zoom for doing meetings with video and things like that. And some businesses use that in preference to Zoom, but it's the same kind of thing. And as usual with Microsoft, they push it out to all sorts of things. You don't have to use it. You can uninstall it. I installed it last week on my wife's computer because she has a new client that uses that to do their meetings.
Okay, thank you, David.
And it also then will help organizations be in touch with their users. It's like an instant messaging program. You can transfer files, you can send notices. But as David mentioned, Microsoft spent a lot of time and money on making this program, and they think it should be used by everybody. So they push it down. You can uninstall it, but it will be reinstalled on your computer. It's generally better if you go to your startup menu and say disable. And it's there, it's just not running.
Thanks.
Stanley,
Okay, thank you, Hank. I want to thank you for that rundown on our website. I think we all need to be reminded of the features of that website. The other thing is next week being the board meeting, if there's no objections, I would like to host that on my Zoom account, and I will send that invitation to Hank so he can send it out with his reminder. And so it will appear the same. The only difference between that I have on my account, which is Walkabout's account, and Hank's, is the chat window allows you to chat with individuals or one-on-one with another individual, which occasionally.
Just muted.
somehow,
Yeah,
Stanley.
Stanley, you went mute.
All right, sorry, I was holding the space bar down, but it blinked off. Okay. Tell me what I didn't say. Sorry about that.
You were saying the only difference between what I provide and what you provide is
Okay, the only difference is the chat window is more functional on my account with Zoom. You can talk, you can chat with an individual.
yeah. I think I can set it so that anyone can chat with everyone, but not individuals, just one-on-one.
And I just did that, Hank.
Yeah, and I think that's just a setting that's on the APCUG account. Is that correct, Saul?
Yes.
Mr. Wakely.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on, sometimes I'm going onto a site and they say, oh, bad password or something. And I say, oh, darn, how am I going to find out what that password was? I do use LastPass, but I find it a little onerous to go into that and find it. But I noticed that when I'm up in Gmail, if I click on my face icon, there is an icon of a skeleton key, which if you click on that skeleton key, it allows you to bring up a screen of all your passwords that have been saved in your Google account. And you click on the eyeball or the eye on that under the password you want to find for the website. It does ask you for a key, and I put in whatever it is to start up my computer, and it will then allow you to see what that password is. I find that very useful when I have to find a particular password. However, I do keep a document with most of the common passwords that I require. And if I have a problem, I usually refer to that, but that's a little onerous. And I find this second requirement where they call your cell phone and give you a number, I find that onerous too, and I'm not sure it's necessary, but we have to do it if that's what they require. So anyway, that's my comments on passwords. I have some other comments later, but I'll talk about those another time.
So using the two-factor like cell phone, it's only important if you want to keep your information or your money safe. If you don't want to, then you don't need to do that, except for if the website forces you to do that. More and more places are requiring that you do that, because if the bad guys capture your account and your password, which is not too difficult, especially if you're keeping it in the Chrome browser program, then they have access to your world.
Probably true. Hasn't happened to me yet, but it may.
Stanley,
It only needs to happen once and you'll still regret it.
It's true.
Okay, I just want to, I would have used the chat window if Ross Malloy was available, but I want to just say that due to his presentation last week, I upgraded to the Chrome 6 Pro at AT&T. And I'm very pleased with it. And I'm very impressed with the camera and the features. And so anyway, thank you, Ross. And I now have the Pro 6.
Yeah,
6
the
Pro.
Pixel. The Pixel, it's made by Google. The line
Yeah.
is Pixel and you have the number 6. I have a number 5. 7 is imminent from what I understand, but the 5 or 6, I think for most people's use is more than enough. But you might want to really consider that if you're having trouble with the battery life on your phone, or if your phone needs to be repaired. It can be done, but you're better off putting the money in a new device, I would believe.
The battery life on the new one is fantastic. It's better than the Pixel 3 ever was.
Okay. So,
So since Will brought up passwords and use of them, I did send a link to Hank for his consideration of adding to the Bits and Bytes. I'm sure he was transitioning from Hawaii to San Diego this past week, so I understand that it may not be posted yet, but it was an article where Apple, Google, and Microsoft are all working toward the next 2 years of using passwordless logins using a token on a smartphone in a system called FIDO. Sounds like a dog. It's a Fast ID Online, I believe is what it stands for. And it will use a token as your second factor authentication in lieu, or maybe first factor in lieu of a password. I wish them good luck with that, because when you don't have your phone working for whatever reason, you will not be able to log into your accounts.
interesting. At one time, they were talking about using QR codes as a password. I don't know if anything more has happened from that, but apparently it was a good idea.
Dan,
I just wanted to mention that most of the browsers will store your passwords, your sign-on and passwords if you ask them to. They give you the option, but it doesn't transfer to your other browsers. If you're using 2 browsers, you could sign on with, say, Opera and save the password there. But if you tried to sign on with Chrome, you wouldn't have the password. The other thing is, on that certification or whatever you want to call it, I noticed that I can now go back and sign on to my VA account the old way. They told me I had to provide a ID Me account for a while there, and that worked. I guess it still works, but I don't use it. But I went back to see if I could still sign on with the old account, and I can sign on with the old account. I've heard from other sources that they're having a little difficult with that ID Me account. So I don't know what that goes on. The other thing is, some places give you an option on whether you want them to call you or send the password to your email account. My bank does that. I can either tell them to call me and give me a code, or send the code to my Hotmail account. So you have an option, and if your phone don't work, you can send it to the Hotmail account. ID Me says you can either text it or call, but they don't give you any other option other than your phone. That's all I had to say.
So on that same subject, Mr. Dan, if you were to use the program LastPass, you have a plugin for each browser that you use, and then you have one list of passwords, no matter which browser you use. Is it will move from, because again, it's one password list that is shared amongst all of your browsers.
I understand there's several ways to do that. I was just talking about
Yes.
one of them.
Right.
And also, when you're setting up your two-factor authentication stuff, it usually is good to provide both a phone number and an email account in case one or other of them is not available at any given time.
Right.
If I could just piggyback on this briefly, I've been working for 2 months to get a website to fix their end because they only offer two choices, which is a code by text or by a voice call, except the voice call isn't working and the text isn't working. It doesn't help me. And the bottom line to that is there always need to be like 3 or 4 different ways as plan B, C, or D to get in, because whatever you're using may not work either on your end or on their end. And finally, where an account is shared, like I do with some nonprofit organizations, where more than one person needs access to an account, two-factor authentication is going to stop us from working because only one person is going to have a smartphone to get the code, and none of the rest of us will get into it. There are much better ways to do this. The biggest problem with the website I've been dealing with is they base everything on whether you've signed in and have a cookie already set in your web browser in the past. And if you don't, they say they don't recognize the device. But my objection to that is they should be authenticating me, not my device. And they could use security questions and answers. There are all sorts of other ways to validate the person and not base it on your device.
I think this illustrates one of our main problems today in society. There are so many people that are trying to steal from honest people that the honest people are now being buried by all the security programs that the banks and et cetera have set up to save us from ourselves. And it's driving me nuts. Mr. Wakely.
Yeah, I want to address the problem with PDF files. When I receive a PDF file and click on it, it brings me into some free Adobe program, which I don't recognize. It gives me problems. How do you folks handle PDF files?
I can speak to that. I work with that. It becomes a big issue as of late anyway. The Adobe program that is my preferred is the Adobe Acrobat DC. And it's the free version of what used to be called Reader. When you update Chrome, when you update Edge, they want to take over and be the one that uses that format, looks at the file. The way to fix that is you right-click a PDF file, and then you go down to the option that says Open With, and it will give you a list of files in your computer, programs in your computer that will open that PDF file. And you can then check in there to say, I want you to always use program X, whatever it is that you choose to have. But it unfortunately, it does not stay constant. It changes because you get updates from other programs that want to take that over.
And what's the disadvantage of, well, I, for example, have let the system tell me that I have to use, or tell me that I'm going to use Google Chrome, my normal browser, to open PDF files. What's the disadvantage of letting it do that?
Printing those files sometimes does not work in Chrome. Go back and use Acrobat, and that problem goes away.
So you recommend using DC? Is that the word?
Adobe Acrobat, yeah.
Yeah, Adobe Acrobat DC.
Okay, thank you, Ross. Good. Dan? Dan?
Okay, Dan.
Yes, did you say Acrobat DC or PC?
Dog Charlie.
Like Washington, DC.
Okay, DC. Thank you.
That's the basic that's the basic PDF reader from the people that invented PDFs.
Okay, so Saul.
I'll get off my soapbox on the prior topic in a moment, but what I've explained to the companies that are trying to increase their security is that I myself am the best security for my account if I can log into it, because I only have to look at my account. They have to monitor millions of accounts, but I will catch stuff on my account if there is any improper transaction before the company will. So it's best if they don't block the 99.9% of the people legitimately trying to get into their account. And they have, as I said, many different ways to validate. Even if you phone them, you put in a telephone access code. They ask you various questions. There's lots of different ways to do this. A browser cookie is not the way to do this.
Well, the problem is, and unfortunately, I've had a number of times where we've tried to help people, our customers, recover when their accounts have been compromised in various ways. If you have a business account and the money is stolen out of that business account and it's transferred outside the United States, you have 24 hours, one business day to let the bank know that that money is now out of your account. Like you're saying, Saul, you can go in there and say, now, wait a minute, I used to have, and today I don't. You got one business day to let the bank know, then, and they will get your money back. After one day, all bets are off. They will try to claw the money back, but they may not be able to get it. If it's a personal account, it depends on the bank, but most accounts will give you your money back if it was some type of fraud where that money was stolen. That means the bank itself is liable for that. So that's where your website that you're speaking of is coming from, is they're trying to reduce that liability where that money is stolen and they have to fund the refund. And it's difficult. And I agree with you. If you can't get into your account, then it's no good to you. They're trying to say if someone else gets into it, even if somebody just goes straight to the bank and logs in and takes the money, they're still liable. You can get your money back on a personal account.
I understand, Ross. And I would just say that this bank used to offer a third option. And that's really my point, is that there needs to be multiple ways for people to be verified. And they used to offer sending the code by email. They removed it because they said that a few people fell for phishing emails. So they're punishing the other 99.99% of the people that knew better for the few people. And it's like saying, if you have 100 people, and 99 of them stop at a stop sign, but one runs it, you're going to punish the other 99 people? I don't think so. So all I'm saying is they have to have multiple ways to validate, not one, because it may not work.
Part of we have this discussion all the time with the way that Microsoft makes changes to the way of any of their programs, either whether it's a business account that we have or with the Office package or anything. As we all get older, we all have better vision back saying, that's not going to work, because the problem is the individuals who are doing that work are in their 20s and don't have that vision. And trying to educate them to say, might want to consider, is really difficult.
And that's what I've suggested. And I've offered to be a free beta tester before they roll this stuff out to the public, because that's what they should be doing.
I understand.
I think we agree that the security is lousy. And anybody that can get to your computer can basically get into your account. because if you sign on to the computer, the first thing the browser has your sign on and password. And then the phone, which is sitting next to my computer, they just call the phone and give them a number, whoever answers the phone. So the security is useless.
Which is why I know back when I was doing stuff with the military, their two-factor authentication was something you know and something you have. The thing you have has to travel with you. If you're not at your desk, you don't leave your keys on the desk. You take them with you.
Will.
Yeah, this is probably not useful for any of us, but I use a Kindle for most all of my reading, and I discovered a feature that Kindle has that I wish well, I don't have children, but if you have children and you're trying to teach them to read, I think this feature would be marvelous. What it is you can set up Kindle to literally read one word at a time, and that word shows up right in the middle of the screen, and you can set the speed at whatever you want. And I would think teaching a child to read would be a wonderful feature to use, because word comes, the parent then speaks the word, and so the child word and hearing the word, whereas other techniques probably don't do that. But anyway, if you have children, grandchildren, know anybody that's trying to teach a child to read, suggest to them that this Kindle feature is a wonderful thing. I think it would be great. I never heard anybody else talk about it, but I suspect that would be a wonderful feature. That's all I have to say on that. Thanks.
Stanley.
I just checked Acrobat DC. It's $13 a month. And anyway, that was a surprise to me. And that's not just the PC reader, the PDF reader, that's the whole Acrobat package. So that's a concern.
And there's a free version that you can get.
I looked for it. I didn't see it.
Okay. So I'm looking at their website right now, and it's Adobe Acrobat Reader DC.
Reader DC. All right. I misunderstood.
Correct. No, I think I did not include where it said reader, but yes, the $13 a month is a perpetual. You pay $13 a month forever, but it allows you to create PDFs. I have a pro version of Acrobat on my system, and the reason I keep that active is for scanning. It really, Adobe works very well for me to be able to interface to my computer printer scanner and do what I need to do with it. I can scan the PDF or do whatever I need to with the scanner. Every time I change to a different printer or something else, then I have to relearn how to do that for that particular device. With Adobe, I don't have to. I just go to Adobe and go to the scanning function across the top of the screen and use that to scan. But again, it's a paid for program. It's not the free version of the program. As the gentleman spoke today from Hank's presentation on Office 365, there is a lot of features that they built into the program, but it is a subscription fee. Most companies want you to be on a subscription. They've tried and rumored a number of times that they want to do that with even Windows, that you have a subscription fee for that each month. All the companies want to have a continuous revenue stream from you.
Ross, there is a program called Windows Fax and Scan, which is in Windows Accessories on Windows 10, that scans very well for me.
I'm sure there is.
Any computer that I happen to have hooked up to my using any printer, excuse me, that I have that I've hooked up to my computer.
So it's my bandwidth of relearning, having to relearn as time goes on, each new program. It's like saying, how do I edit photos? Well, it used to be if I had a Kodak camera, then they had one, then Minolta, then Canon, and they all had their own ways of when you had that camera to edit your photos. So if you used a program like Adobe, you didn't need to learn all those new file editing programs or picture editing programs. You just stayed with Adobe Photoshop. So I've done the same thing with Acrobat, is to say, this is going to be my scanning program. Yes, I have to pay for that, but that's my choice instead of having to relearn how to do things.
Hank, how do you get to that program? Fax and scan.
How do you find it? I just go to my start menu.
You have a magnifying glass at the lower left-hand side of your screen. Type in there, fax and scan.
Okay.
I typed in fax, and the first thing that came up was Windows fax and scan.
Wonderful. Stan.
Just to let Hank know, he's muted.
I can't lip read, Hank.
Sometimes that's not a bad
There
thing.
I am. I'm unmuted finally. I have pinned Windows Fax and Scan to my taskbar, so it's available anytime I want to scan something.
Good. Stanley.
And I found it probably by Googling Windows Fax and Scan on my Google Chrome.
Oh, okay.
All right, Mr. Wakely, you got your hand up. To say?
I did, but I forgot. Like Mel Weekly, I am getting old.
Okay, it's almost noon here, and gosh, it would be 9 o'clock in Hawaii. That's still early. We could go on for a couple hours. Sure, we all want to do that. Anyone would like to continue as the host, I will sign out and oh wait, hold on. Saul's got his hand up.
You can make me host if you want, but since we were talking about the difference between the Acrobat Reader and the full Acrobat program in terms of creating PDFs, programs you may already have may be able to save things as a PDF.
Yes.
And so you may not need a program like that.
Yes.
On the Windows side, I will say that if it's anything graphic related, the free IrfanView graphics editing program has a save category in addition to JPEG, GIF, and numerous other ones. Ping is PDF. And if you're on the Mac side, like Sammy, the preview program that's built into the Mac OS will save that, as well as it will allow you to have a virtual printer of every program to print to PDF.
Okay.
Yeah, when you go into a Microsoft Word program and you click print, one of your options is, instead of picking your printer, is Microsoft Print to PDF. So you can take any document and print it to a PDF file, thereby creating a PDF file of that program. Anybody can do that.
But or file save as, it does the same thing. Or you can use Word to open a PDF file, and it will actually convert it to a text. A lot of times, if it's not protected, it'll take it in as a editable document.
I think the whole PDF program was originally created so that people could not change a PDF document.
It was to help you move the document from, say, Windows to a Mac. You needed a program that lets you at least be able to read what that document is. But yes, you can lock down a PDF file, so it is as such, it's not editable. There are ways around to break it, but it was primarily to say, yes, that here it is. If it's a PDF, it can't be easily changed.
And in addition to that, I will add that it is the only file format where it renders identically, regardless of what operating system you're using it on and what application. It will always render exactly the same way. You can have a Word document and you can open it in different versions of Word or different other word processing programs, and the page breaks may be different slightly because of the margins or whatever. But with a PDF document, what you see is exactly what you'll get on every platform.
Okay.
And the word that the letters PDF stand for portable document format.
Yeah, I was trying to find a program, a free program that would allow me to edit a PDF file, including having active entry points where you could type in the responses to things. And I found some that said they were free, and I used them. And then at the end of it, it says, if you really want to save this, you have to do a 1 week free trial or whatever. And I didn't want to do that. But these things that say they're free aren't necessarily free. So, be aware.
Sometimes they're free to try, but not use.
Right. Right. Okay, before we leave, I just wanted to tell Miriam that I checked the PO box and there's nothing there.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, if I may, Miriam just sent me an email about senior computer group needing an agent for our small business. Miriam could probably explain it. And while I have a few board members left here, does anybody feel like they would like to take over as being an agent if they have any experience with this nonprofit organization puzzle? I would rather not take it because I'm getting older and Hank's getting older and we're all getting older. Some of us are older than others. And I'd rather not put my name on as a future contact. So if any of the other board members would be interested in dealing with that, please let me know.
Anyone except Hank, you mean, who's too old?
Well, it's up to you. I'm just getting a little
I'm
cautious
joking.
about saying yes.
I'm joking.
Hey,
What is this? What is an agent? What is an agent?
It's not clear on this document that I have to fill in. They want an agent. I presume it's a person who receives some of the documentation. And I would be willing to do it since I'm stuck with all this 501c3 stuff, except for the fact that I'm not here. So I don't have an address that works all year long.
Well, a PO box works all year long.
So
Who
Hank's off the
wants-
hook too.
Who wants you to designate an agent?
It's the Secretary of State in California, to whom I have to send in a form, and they want to know who the president, the secretary, and the treasurer are, including their street addresses, which I do have. And they also want the name of an agent, which could be the same as one of those. But as I said, I would do it, except that it doesn't make any sense because I know I'm not here half the year. And you're off the hook too, Hank.
Can't we use the senior computer group PO box?
No, it has to be a person with a real address.
Very interesting. Someone else is trying to protect us from ourselves.
Right, right.
Yeah. Mary, perhaps you could research that a little bit, and at next week's meeting, well, maybe we can have an item on the agenda to find an agent.
Yes.
Okay.
We will do that.
Hello, Dan.
Yes, I have a PO box, and I'm finding more and more people find that unacceptable for an address.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
that's
right,
all.
everybody. I'm going to Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wave goodbye
Goodbye,
I think we're
everybody.
done.
down unless there's someone who wants to keep it running.
See you next week.
May see you next
Bye.
See you next week.